Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Kylie if you're new, and today I am going to be reviewing Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. Fair warning though, I did watch the producer's cut because several of my subscribers told me that the producer's cut is much better than the theatrical cut, so that is what I'm reviewing. I don't really know how different it is to the theatrical cut, but here we are. So this movie came out in 1995 and it received a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I believe is the lowest rated in the entire series. Yes, I did just check. It is the lowest rated in the entire series, and here's what happened. This installment marks the return of the seemingly indestructible masked murderer Michael Myers, who is targeting Tommy Doyle, a young man tied into the legacy of the killer and his connections with the Strode family. As the supernatural elements of Michael's macabre abilities are explored, his longtime adversary, Dr. Sam Loomis, is also back in yet another attempt to stop the psychopath's brutal rampages. So typically what I do is I start with some fun facts that I found the most interesting, and then I get into some opinions about the movie, and I kind of like to start with some spoiler-free, kind of vague stuff, and then I'll get into the spoilers and I'll plot and all that good stuff. So, you mean to tell me this was Paul Rudd's first feature film? I was blown away. Literally, the moment that the opening credits started and it said introducing Paul Rudd, I said, what? I think Clueless might have come out before this movie, but Halloween 6 was filmed before Clueless. So this was Paul Rudd's first movie. I know I've never said this before on my channel, but I love Paul Rudd, and that's hilarious to me. Okay, more fun facts. Most of the cast and crew actually disowned this movie. They said that the studio, director, and the producers argued to the point of ridiculousness, and that ended up in the film being very poorly written and directed. This next one gets me a little bit heated because, as most of us know, Danielle Harris did not reclaim her role as Jamie in this movie, and here's why. Danielle Harris wanted to reclaim her role as Jamie, but turned it down when Dimension Films refused to pay her the $5,000 she wanted. Harris stated in an interview that when her agent learned that filmmakers were looking to cast an actress who was at least 18 or older to play Jamie in the film, she was only 17, but wanted to do the movie enough that she got herself legally emancipated from her parents at the suggestion of filmmakers so that she could work longer hours without having to go to school. Harris spent time and thousands of dollars on the legal process, but ultimately turned down the film due to her own dissatisfaction with her character's story and Dimension's refusal to pay her a salary that would have recovered her legal fees. Harris also stated that she eventually met and befriended J.C. Brandy, who took over the role of Jamie in the film and was treated poorly on the set because Harris turned down the role. So basically, the people that made Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers are all pieces of shit. Let's briefly discuss, because this movie had a budget of $6 million and they told her they wouldn't pay her $5,000. You're talking about the literal star of Halloween 4, okay? Her acting made that movie. You could argue that Rachel's character did as well, but like, Danielle Harris was the star, and the fact that they wouldn't even give her $5 grand, tacky. Anyways, moving on to a more sad fact. Donald Pleasance actually died during the filming of this movie. He was only 76 years old and he died from complications after a heart surgery. So because of his death and an allegedly bad screening, Joe Chappelle actually decided to rewrite a lot of the script. They did a ton of reshoots. The cast and crew were very angry about this because they didn't want to change everything up so much. They also changed around a lot of the editing, and because of this, most of the cast and crew agreed that they would never do another Halloween movie again. Many of Donald Pleasance's scenes were also edited out of the movie because Joe Chappelle found him to be boring, which, rude. Again, rude. Not for me personally, but I know that Dr. Sam Loomis is a fan favorite for many people, and so just rude. Speaking of, Dr. Loomis and Michael had no scenes together in this movie, which is just kind of a tragedy because it was the last movie that Donald Pleasance did before he died. It was the last Halloween movie with him in it, so just really sad. Michael was again played by George P. Wilbur, who played him in the 4th installment of the Halloween series, and he was supposed to be in his late 30s, but George P. Wilbur was actually 54 at the time of shooting. And finally, this Halloween movie had the largest opening weekend of the entire franchise aside from the 2018 Halloween. So I'm not gonna talk too much about the plot of this movie because it's a mess. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about like the acting and different elements from the movie, and I'm gonna start off with Paul Rudd. This movie kind of cemented in my mind why Paul Rudd is best at comedy. His performance felt very satirical, and he had this weird, like, kind of tropey, nerdy, crazy accent going on. It was very interesting. It was really funny. Like, I couldn't take him seriously at all. And I think I was supposed to because this film didn't really have any self-awareness at all. I don't think it was supposed to be comical, but I found Paul Rudd's performance to be really funny, and that's not to say I didn't like it. It was really enjoyable. But just listen to the way he talks.
I was only 8 years old when I saw him, but I was one of the lucky ones. I survived. Dr. Loomis? Dr. Loomis, thank God you're here.
Maybe it's not as noticeable as I'm making it out to be, but I just think it's hilarious. And I think he definitely embodied like the weird, traumatized kid grown up to be weird adult. So not a bad job by any means. It was just funny. Speaking of acting, I'm gonna move on to some of the other characters in this movie. So Donald Pleasance was going through some health issues during this movie, during the filming, and you could really tell that he looked a lot different than he did in Halloween Part 5. He unfortunately had aged quite a bit since then, and it's pretty obvious, and his demeanor is really different as well. There were a couple moments when he like yelled a little bit and got a little bit worked up, but you could just tell that the same energy wasn't really there. And it's sad because it's due to his health issues, but I honestly didn't mind it. I kind of liked that he was a more toned down version of himself. It made a little bit more sense to me. So some of the side characters, their acting was pretty corny, but Kim Darby and Bradford English, who played the Strode parents, Deborah and John Strode, I thought their acting was really, really good. I think that Kim did a really good job at playing the like, you know, timid, scared, reserved mom, and then Bradford did a really good job of being the asshole father. Many of you have probably seen my dad on my channel, so luckily I have no experience with anything like that. But I feel like from what I know about asshole fathers, he did a really good job. But if we're talking about our main character, which was Kara Strode, not my favorite performance. I thought she was kind of weak. I didn't think there was anything really special about her. She never had any super climactic moments or anything. She was just kind of there. And now finally, let's talk about the portrayal of Michael Myers again. In this movie, the mask finally, like, okay, it's good. It's good again. Also, George P. Wilbur, I think I'm coming around to him a lot more now. I like his portrayal as Michael a lot. He's very large and he's also very still and like very stoic, which that's my favorite in any type of serial killer portrayal. I don't like when they're clunky or like clumsy or move around too much. He's very like... But unfortunately, Michael wasn't really the star of this movie, and I'm confused. Because these movies at this point are seeming to be trying to squeeze all the juice, all the money out of Michael and just seeing where his story can go, etc. And he didn't really have much screen time in this movie, and you could tell he was kind of controlled by this weird cult thing. I don't know if it's technically a cult, but like all those people that participate in the Samhain ritual, it's a cult. Oh, I guess we're gonna get into the plot now because it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I don't like how complicated they tried to make everything in this whole weird backstory with Michael. I loved the days when it was just simple. He was just this masked maniac that liked to kill people, and he just walked around and that's what he did. That's what I liked. Now I know there's a lot of people that prefer to have like more explanations and theorists and stuff like that, and I love conspiracy theories. Like, I am not immune to that kind of stuff, but when it comes to the writing of movies and when it comes to Michael especially, I'm like, no, cut it out. Because I just don't understand the point of having all these people behind Michael and seemingly controlling him a little bit. Because again, that kind of takes away from the character of Michael. It makes him less powerful than I feel like he used to be. And when we got to the ritual at the very end, I was struggling with my instinct to turn it off because the direction that the movie was going was just not it. Also, they escaped so easily. Tommy Doyle just put a knife up to the leader's neck and was like, let us go, and then they just left. And then when Michael went after them, I was like, okay, showdown, and then Tommy Doyle just like cut his hand and used the rune thingy, and like he just stayed there, and then they got away and it was fine. So very anticlimactic, just barely anything happened. And it made Michael seem so lame, which he's not. He's literally my favorite. I'm gonna talk about one more thing that irked me, and then I'm gonna talk about a couple of things that I actually did like about this movie. So at one point they're sort of having a confrontation with Michael, and I think that it's Dr. Sam Loomis that says, "The baby is yours, Michael, isn't it?" Huh? No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely the hell not. So they're implying that incest was had. One of two things could have occurred. Jamie lost her damn mind and consented to having sex with Michael. Oh, or even worse, even much, much worse, her uncle raped and impregnated her. Ugh, why? Gross. I can't believe that when they were conceiving Halloween 4, they didn't go with John Carpenter's original treatment of that script. I can't believe, because we wouldn't have had to endure all of this mess. Okay. All right, there were a couple of things that I liked about this movie. So one, I already talked about the acting. I thought the acting was pretty good from like the main characters at least. Paul Rudd. He's Paul Rudd. I'm not gonna mention my favorite kill, unfortunately, because I will be doing a video at the end of this series with all my favorite kills, so I'm gonna skip that. But there was a really good kill in this movie. The scene where the child was singing about the rain and like, why is the rain red? It's warm. Ooh, wow, I haven't seen that in any other horror movie before. I thought that was really original. That freaked me out. Like, that was one of the only moments in the movie that like got under my skin and kind of scared me. Cause wow, like a little girl dancing under falling blood and she was like covered in it and stuff. Ooh. And finally, I don't know if it was the original house or like the original setting for Haddonfield, but it looked like it was almost the exact same house. And it looked like the exact same street. It looked like Haddonfield. Like, this movie gave me original Halloween vibes, and for that, it was at least a little bit enjoyable. Because if you saw my review of part 5, you would know that I didn't like the house that they used for the Myers house because it looked so different than the original. It was like this big, old, ugly Victorian house and just completely different vibes. The vibes were off. And so in this movie, it was damn near the same house, might have been the exact same house. That wasn't listed anywhere in like fun facts or anything, so I don't know. But the vibes were correct. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here and just give some overall thoughts. So overall, train wreck. Bad. There were some things that were enjoyable about it, some really good kills. I mean, Michael, his portrayal by George P. Wilbur was great, some good acting. But because of the mess that it became with the rewrites and the reshoots and the death of Donald Pleasance, it just turned into a big old clusterfuck. All right, well, if you're new here, I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 o'clock p.m., so you get a lot of horror content every single week. My Halloween videos come out on Monday, so I will be reviewing the rest of these movies, and I've reviewed all the previous 5 movies, so you can check those out if you'd like to. I also have a 17 video Friday the 13th series that was coming out on Friday. There's one more coming out this week, and then I will be starting my Nightmare on Elm Street series. I'm so pumped. And then I also have some other movie reviews and pop cultural stuff sprinkled in there as well, so please subscribe if you're interested in any of that. I also have a vlog channel and I usually try to post over there like once a week-ish. But please check out the petitions and the GoFundMes link down below. I update those every week. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!